We are live, and I want to introduce you guys to today's guest. Her name is TALI, and she has quite a phenomenal eye-opening story. We're obviously going to be talking about weight loss, body recomposition using a carnivore diet, but another aspect that TALI wants to share is her breast implant toxicity. So we're going to talk all about that. Firstly, welcome. How did you find carnivore?
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me on here. I absolutely love you. Loved you for a long time. So I really
Love you
appreciate you
back.
bringing me on the show. So how did I find carnivore? I will never forget this moment because I was in my car and I was in a parking lot. It's kind of one of those things that your life changes in that moment. Somebody had sent me a podcast. It was Dr. Jordan Peterson speaking about the carnivore lifestyle. And I think it sat in my inbox for a while. And then I finally was like, all right, I'm going to listen to this. And I was in this parking lot and it was absolutely life changing. He was talking about mold toxicity in particular. And because that was something that I had been going through for a long time due to the breast implants,
Mhm.
I was really tuning in. And he laid out this call to action, and it's take the 30-day challenge. And I'm like, 30 days? All right, you can do anything for 30 days, right? So I'm like, yeah, I'll do this for 30 days. And I had been suffering at this time. I had come so far in my healing journey. And just like you, I was vegan
Wow.
for a while. And then it seemed like after 6 months, I tanked being vegan.
Mm.
And
Mhm.
then when I moved, past that, I was eating organic, gluten free,
Mm.
very healthy lifestyle, and had gotten to a pretty decent place. But you don't know what healing feels like until you know. And I had all these gut issues. Within 2 weeks, carnivore, all my gut issues went away.
Only 2 weeks. Now, how did you start carnivore diet? Like, what type of foods did you start off with?
Well, I wanted to be as strict as possible. So when I first started, it was totally red meat. So I
Mm.
didn't just do steaks. I did, you know, stir fry, kind of like a ground beef kind
Ground
of a
beef.
thing. And
Mhm.
but I really wanted for that 30 days, I wanted to test this out. And so I was hardcore. I did eat eggs,
Got it.
and I ate meat and of course butter.
Phenomenal. I love it. Now, I'm going to show some photos that you shared with me, Tali, and I want you to narrate each of these photos. So, what's going on here?
Yes. So that was 2 years ago. I am in my 50s. In that picture 2 years ago, I was about 53, 52, 53, and I hit menopause. And so everything was just absolutely fine for a while. I'd kind of recovered from breast implant illness, or so I thought, and
Mm.
chronic inflammatory response syndrome. But there on the left, I was actually told that that's the ideal typical health of a woman in her 50s in America,
Mm.
according to conventional labs and conventional thought. And I had gut issues every day. I was just full of inflammation. You can really see it right there. I
Yes.
still had lots and lots of symptoms, and I was working out. I do want to say, it's like, oh, was she just kind of sitting on the couch during that time? No, I was eating very healthy, uh, organic vegetables, uh, just low carbohydrate. I was eating some grains. I was being gluten free. I did eat out in restaurants. I had a lot of inflammation going on, a lot of gut issues, and that's what you're seeing there.
Wow. And
Wow.
then what's
And then
this
what's
right
this
side?
right side? That's me now. So
Wow.
55, bringing sexy back. And here is where I was carnivore. So this was about 3 or 4 months into my carnivore journey in that
Mm.
picture. And I switched the way I was working out. So kind of changed how I was doing it. And more importantly, I put a real focus on cellular health. And so I have a holistic doctorate in functional medicine, and I launched my practice in March, and my focus is on cellular health. So
Yeah.
part of my
Wow.
journey was being my first health participant. And so focusing on the cells, this was the end result.
Amazing. Wow. Oh, I hear an echo. Are we hearing an echo? Let me see. Oh, let me see if that's gone now. Okay, good. So on this right side, you're only 3 to 4 months into carnivore. Did you do anything specifically? Like, did you try different modalities, fasting? What did you do to get these amazing results on the right?
I focus, lots of things. So one
Okay.
thing was mindset. I really put forward, I'm healing.
Mm,
And so I put that
I love
in
that.
my head. And because whatever you put in your head and that you can hold in your head and your heart, you can hold it in your hand, it will become your reality. And so a real positive mind shift and really shifting that idea of what is healthy. So that was where I was as far as my headspace. I also started working out in a different way. So on the left, I did a lot of cardio. On the right, I stopped with the intense cardio and focused really on strength training, which I think is one of the best things that a woman can do in her 40s and 50s, is to weight train. And the studies are now, it's all popping up that our muscles are part of our endocrine system. And so
Right.
this really helped get me in check as far as my my blood sugar regulation, because in that picture 2 years ago, I was creeping up there. They were telling me already, oh, your glucose is high. That's in conventional labs. So I automatically knew that my insulin was likely high as well. And all of that shifted when I started just eating strict carnivore. And I didn't I didn't fast as far as long
Mhm.
day fasts, because
Mm.
I was just concerned about cortisol and those sorts of issues. So I followed more of a primal approach, where it's like I looked outside and I'm like, oh, well, it's light outside. I can eat. And then when it was dark outside, no more eating. And so I was definitely going to bed with an empty stomach, which allowed my body also to rest, digest, and heal itself.
I love it.
I kept it really simple.
Beautiful. Let's keep going to the next photo. Wow, what a difference.
So this actually is a 6 month difference. I know it says 2004, 2005, but that's just kind of how the year was divided. But this
Yeah.
is a 6 month difference. And I just want everyone to also know that the weight loss, like, oh, people look at this and they think, oh, she lost like 30 pounds, because you see all of that in the face there.
Yeah.
5 pounds. In my
Wow.
whole journey, we're talking about 5 pounds. So this is inflammation right there.
Mhm. Exactly. You really see the jawline coming out in the right side the most to me, and then a bit of a lifted effect. The lines are smoothed out. You just look more well rested and glowy.
Thank
Wow.
you. Yes. And it starts on the inside at the cellular level, and then it moves on out. So you focus on
Amazing.
the mitochondria, your body starts to produce energy, your neurotransmitters become balanced, you start to feel happy, and it literally changes your biology and changes your outer appearance.
I can seriously see that. Let's keep going. Okay.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Yes. So I am a different person. And my journey has been literally shedding this person that you see here. Gosh, it's emotional. Hmm. So I was 40 in this picture. And you can see I had breast implants.
Mhm.
And it was breast implants that led me on this journey. So it was a very painful journey getting here. However, at the same time, it was a spiritual and transformational journey to get to this point.
Wow.
When you have an object or objects that are sitting in your body at 98.6 degrees, and they're made of 40 toxic chemicals. But on top of that, inside, and these were saline breast implants, I had mold that had been in my body. And over 15 years, I had over 50 symptoms, from joint pain to muscle ache to cystic acne, horrific headaches, terrible depression, exhaustion, like you cannot keep going.
Wow.
It hurt to breathe, in a sense that it was exhausting to breathe. And I started going doctor to doctor trying to find answers. And none of them, I even asked, could it be my breast implants? None of them said, oh, yeah, absolutely, it could be. In fact, they told me it was breast implants are safe and effective. They are FDA approved. It is just saline. It was just because I went for the safe kind, not silicone, safe kind.
Wow.
And it turns out this was in my breast implants. It was mold. It had been slow leaking in my body for a very long time. And so even after I had the breast implants removed and went back to these doctors, I'm the one, by the way, who figured it out. It's sometimes our body will whisper with symptoms, and we know something's wrong. And I went into conventional medicine to teams and teams of doctors who said to me, no, you're just getting older, or it's all in your head. And they gave me tons of different pharmaceuticals for the symptoms. So, Imitrex for the headache, and Nexium for the gut issues, and a slew of antidepressants for the anxiety and the depression, and the Ambien for the insomnia. And I was on 8 different pharmaceuticals at one point, which wasn't helping my toxicity levels. And ironically, at the time when I had breast implants, I was a pharmaceutical sales representative.
Whoa. Okay. Yeah.
So in order to get to this point now where I'm a functional wellness practitioner, I had to go through this. And I had to also be a player on the other side to understand that. And all of these pieces are just part of the journey. And when I went back to these doctors and said to them, guess what? I'm not crazy. I don't have this. I don't have that. I don't have fibromyalgia and everything else that you diagnosed me with. This is the root cause. They looked at this picture. I felt I had a moral obligation to show this to them, right? That maybe I could be helping another woman who's been going through the system with mystery symptoms and needing a doctor to say, whoa, wait a second. I have heard of this before. I had a patient that this, something happened to. Just ask the question, do you have any implantable device in your body? And then go from there, But they told me that still looking at this picture, that mold doesn't cause illness and breast implants are safe and effective.
That is insane. So how long did you have these implants in for this to develop?
This developed in a matter of a few years. So wow. I know, like, some people might say, and it will say in the package insert of breast implants, it's going to say, oh, they're not lifetime devices. They need to be switched out every 8 to 10 years. And I have come across women, just even through my practice, who have breast implants that weren't even told that. And they've had the same breast implants in their body and, going on 20, 30, 40 years and have symptoms. And yet at the same time, you have to be ready to, do you want to take charge of your health? Are you willing to get these removed from your body and heal? Because you will heal.
Yeah.
Once you detoxify from these poisons. But some women still are like, what will I look like? What's going to happen to me? How will I feel about my body or my image? And they're just terrified. And, you can see me now. I was told by the plastic surgeon that removed my implants that I would be hideous, that I wouldn't be able to look at myself in the mirror and I wouldn't be able to love myself. And so, a big part of my message is to all women, if you're listening now, if you have breast implants or you know someone who has breast implants, let them know that they're not going to be hideous. And when you have big things that are over your heart chakra from a spiritual aspect, we're talking about a whole other toxicity as well, a block. There's studies that are showing that even if you have a scar, that's an energetic block in your body. Can you imagine what something like that is doing, blocking your energetic field over your heart?
Wow. I mean, you look gorgeous. And when I met you in Tennessee at Meatstock, I thought you were beautiful, healthy, radiant, all of it. And I think your message is so, so very important for women of all ages. And I know that we have women of all ages watch my videos here on the channel. If you're watching, contemplating about getting breast implants or modifying your body to look more beautiful, you are beautiful the way that you are. So how did you cope with taking it out? Was there a shock with how you felt about yourself?
Maybe initially, but at the same time, I felt such enormous relief. It
Yeah.
was almost as if there was a death of that old self and a rebirth of my new self all at once.
Yeah.
And I could move forward. And immediately I started to feel better,
Mhm.
but I did not hit, massive improvements, I feel, until I went carnivore. And that was because I feel that with carnivore, I was addressing the thing that I was missing, which is the thing that I'm just so passionate about now, and that's cellular health. And that my mitochondria was just still just kind of just crunked, like they were just messed up. I had some real deficiencies that were happening down at the cellular level that were blocking me from moving to the next level. And once those things were addressed, it was within a few months that I felt that I had transformed or moved to next level with my health. And I could see it. I could feel it. I could see it. And other people were also like, dang, like, what are you doing?
Right.
And, that was confirmation that I was on the right path. And that's how I ended up geeking out over cellular health and functional wellness.
Beautiful. Congrats on all of your healing and your success so far. And thank you for all you do to help people in this community as well. Now, Tali, my last question before I bring up Coach Raymond is, so did these breast implants cause the CIRS? So CIRS stands for chronic inflammatory response symptom or
Syndrome.
syndrome.
Mhm.
So it was the breast implants sitting in there that developed mold, which caused CIRS.
Yes. And this hasn't been studied. We don't know what the ramifications are
Mhm.
of, what happens if a woman has breast implants that are full of mold sitting over her internal organs at 98.6 degrees for 15 years. Do we have data, studies, case studies on this? No, we don't. So that's why I knew that I had to take charge of my health. And in conventional medicine, they kept giving me the same answer that mold doesn't cause illness. So I don't need to worry my pretty head about it.
Wow. Did you do any specific protocols to heal CIRS?
I tried. I followed the Shoemaker protocol,
Okay.
which is kind of the standard for chronic inflammatory response syndrome.
Okay.
I thought that going vegan was the answer. I thought,
Wow.
oh, that's going to detox my body. I was just chugging down, just spinach smoothies and popping almonds and doing all the things. But what happens when you have mold toxicity is that already it's kind of a given that you have oxalate toxicity. So your oxalates are going to be high. And the
Mm.
reason why is because the mold creates its own oxalate. So if you have a mold fungal issue, and I see it all the time on labs now, but if you have candida, if you have mold, if you have anything along those lines, they produce their own oxalates in your body. So your oxalate level is going to be high. So that means that you're not going to feel well. That's going to affect your mitochondria. That's going to affect your joints. You're going to have brain fog. And all these mystery symptoms could likely be coming from oxalate toxicity, whether it's you're eating too many oxalates or you're getting them endogenously from, you're a breeding ground of fungus. So,
Yeah, totally.
yeah, but shifting to carnivore was the thing. And the first fix, that first sign was, oh, my gut is so much better.
Amazing. I am so happy for you. Now, guys, you can submit your questions for TALI. I want to just emphasize that TALI's expertise is in holistic and functional medicine. Okay. And she's also healed her own menopause symptoms. She's restored her energy and strength. No more chronic symptoms from her breast implant. And also, she has healed from SIRS. So feel free to drop your questions with a capital Q at the front. And I'm bringing on Coach Raymond. Welcome, Raymond. Did you have any questions for TALI?
Yeah, TALI. So, you were mentioning oxalates, and that piqued my curiosity a little bit. Do you have certain protocols that helps for people who have like severe oxalate dumps? For example, I have a client. She said she's got like this huge rash within 2 weeks of going in carnivore, and we've seen it. But it's like, especially at those with real ill health. But it's like, what do you do? What can you do without getting off carnivore, of course, and start adding oxalates?
Right. Yeah, this definitely a question for Sally Norton, Toxic Super Freeze. I do want to say the information that I'm sharing is for it's information for educational purposes only. So I have to mention that.
Yes.
So with oxalates, there are some things that will bind to oxalates and help move them out of the body. One is magnesium citrate.
Okay. Yes.
So that right there, or calcium citrate. Another way to move them out, or to do this in conjunction with that, would be TUDCA, or just bile support. So taurine, TUDCA, just something that's going to give bile support to help move these out.
I love that.
Making sure that vitamin C levels are not supplementing with vitamin C at an enormous amount. So keeping vitamin C supplementation at about 1,000 milligrams. If it's like 2,000 milligrams a day, or somebody's heavily supplementing or eating lots of vitamin C, that might help. That might cause somebody to keep their oxalates in their body.
Yes. And one of the things I am curious about. So you've gone through the SIRS protocol, and actually, did you find it effective for you per se, or did you find what other things that you've done that helped?
I didn't find the Shoemaker protocol to be effective for me. And then I tried other things, and I went, grain-free, gluten-free, but I still had those vegetables. And all along, and when I met Sally, I said, hey, you saved my life. You really put me on a great path, because it was the oxalates. I thought I was doing all the right things. Eat your vegetables. Vegetables are so good for you. And it was those vegetables that were harming me. And it's just so interesting, because a couple months before I went carnivore, before I clicked on that link and listened to that Jordan Peterson podcast, I had vegetables in my refrigerator, and I didn't want them. It was almost like my inner voice or my intuition was saying, don't eat this. And they were spoiling it in my fridge, and I was just like, and throwing them out. But I was still in that habit of buying them and just watching them spoil. But I had just intuitively already limited the amount of vegetables that I was eating, because my inner voice, my inner wisdom was saying, this is harming you. Don't eat me. Don't eat it. And so moving into carnivore just felt right. Yes. And it just came at the right time. And that's what happens in life, right? That when we need something, we see it. I was walking, I took a walk, and there was milk thistle. I just saw just purple milk thistle everywhere. And I'm like, liver cleanse, liver detox. Like, what is it? What am I being told here? And I had a client call me saying, I kind of feel like things are stuck in my body. I'm like, oh, she needs just some liver support. But it's like the universe, God, our creator, whatever you want to call it, has a way of reaching out to us and giving us signs and signals once we are awake. And the way to get awake is you need to remove toxins from your body, and you need to get into a mindset of positivity. And once you do, and you practice gratitude and you're living life from a heart space, you will notice the signs. They are around and everyone is open to seeing them, but you can't see them until you do the work first. And it's detoxify your body.
100%. I love that, because I literally started dreaming about eating eggs when I was vegan. And I felt like that was the sign that I needed. And also, of course, my doctor sitting me down and saying, Bella, you are so deficient. I cannot even believe my eyes. You are so deficient in so many vital things. And for me, going from vegan to carnivore was the just automatic path, because I already tried everything in between, in moderation, standard American diet, before going vegan. So to this day, I always get comments saying, why can't this girl just do everything in moderation, or just in between? Why does she have to do from vegan to carnivore? I actually lived my whole life trying to do the in between part, and I still was very sick, inflamed, and didn't feel great at all. And so I love, earlier you said, Tali, that you don't truly feel the healing until it really starts happening. Well, for a lot of us, we need to be sick and desperate to actually start searching for answers. And I think that's honestly most of the carnivore community. When we go to these in-person events, like at Meatstock, which is a wonderful event, you meet these people with jaw-dropping stories, every single one of them, of healing, stories of reversing this and that, stories of literally close to being, dying, basically, and then thriving. You would not even believe that they were that sick when you look at them and meet them. And I just love these stories. And Tali, your story about the breast implants, I think this is the very first time I'm featuring a story like this. Thank you for being vulnerable and open. I see that you got emotional there. I think you will save so many people's lives just by sharing this story. If anyone is watching this video, share it. The best way to spread the word is to share videos, interviews, stories that you think your friends, family, and coworkers can benefit from. Also, don't forget to hit like. Now, let's jump into the questions. And I'm going to put our first one up from Amanda. Welcome, Amanda. Okay. She says, can you discuss body recomposition? I'm 90 days into carnivore. I gained 20 pounds. Now I am 145 pounds and I'm 5'6", female. Approximately, I'm eating 3,000 to 4,000 calories per day, and it's mostly ground meats and butter. Am I eating too much? What do you think, Tali?
I didn't lose a lot of weight, so it's just hard to say. Number one, healing has to happen first. And so you're not going to lose weight until your body feels safe. So for whatever reason, it is holding on to weight right now. And it could be because things are aligning and rebalancing. I never count calories. I know, Bella, you don't follow you also, don't count calories. Making sure to get enough fat in order for hormone balance to take place, in order for the body to actually calm down the inflammation, in order to calm your nerves and the parasympathetic or the sympathetic nervous system, to move you into the parasympathetic nervous system, which is your state of calm, your rest, your relax, your heal. These things need to happen first. I wouldn't worry about weight. I would allow the body to get its nutrients. However, I do want to say this, and this is down in the cellular level. When the mitochondria are missing some cofactors, then they can't take fat and nutrients and turn that into ATP and energy. And so there could be a problem here where the body isn't working correctly or isn't able to take the raw materials and then get them into the cell where the mitochondria can utilize it properly. So if this is something that continues, getting cellular testing done to really see what nutrients are missing or where the problem is when it comes to your cellular health and the way your mitochondria is creating energy is really vital for a next step.
I love that. Thank you for your thoughts. I'll chime in next. So, Amanda, I want to share that I gained anywhere from 20 to 30 pounds when I first went carnivore because I could not stop eating. I was ravenous. I was starving. And yes, my backstory of being vegan for 6 years probably explained why my hunger was so big upon eating the nutrients that it really needed for the first time in 6 years. So I wonder if you have a lot of healing, a lot of nourishing and resetting the system and the hormones before that body recomposition can start happening. And we try to reiterate this every single week on our live streams that carnivore diet is absolutely not a weight loss diet. It is not a 7 days or less, you're going to lose those 10 pounds for your event type of diet. If you want to lose weight like that, go vegan. Eat vegetables, lose muscle mass. I learned that from Raymond. He always says that. Cut off your arm is what Raymond said.
You want to lose weight, better weight.
It's like, how desperate are you to drop that number on the scale when your health is on the line? And so I tried that very extreme approach of starving myself and counting calories. It works, but only for so long. It works until you start losing hair. It works until you can't sleep in your energy tank. So I'm here to remind you guys that let's get this priority list straight. Amanda, back to your question though. If you're eating 3,000 to 4,000 calories a day because you're hungry for it, keep on eating. If you're eating 3,000 to 4,000 calories a day because you're forcing yourself to for no apparent reason and you're not listening to your body's hunger cues, you can cut down if you're not hungry for it. But if you actually are hungry for it, you need to keep eating until your body's appetite calms down. That's what happened to me. That's what happened to Kelly Hogan. Kelly Hogan inspired me. I'm here to inspire all of the women who are maybe not getting that weight loss initially. You need to trust the process. It's harder than it sounds, but we're here to support you every single week at these live streams. Keep us posted. Alexander, what is your take on omega-3 supplements to raise good cholesterol, Tali?
Is there really a good and bad cholesterol? I mean, I love cholesterol. So I love all cholesterol. Cholesterol is really important for your body. So that's why I'm just trying to unpack all of this here. Cholesterol is very important for your body. It is the core building blocks of your cells, your hormones, your brain. So you need cholesterol. And just so you know, I'm a former pharmaceutical sales representative who sold a statin. And and I'm saying this now. So lower is not better. And raising cholesterol might be a good thing. The meta-analysis that's out, there's a new study, and you can Google this, but this meta-analysis shows that people who have high LDLs actually live the longest. And then as far as looking at the different ratios, they're not looking in conventional medicine at the right markers. So you want to look at your triglycerides, which is linked to your metabolic panel. And then you want to also look at your HDL. Bella, I saw yours and wow. She's got like an inverted thing going with her HDL higher than her triglycerides. But Bella eats tons of fat. Everybody sees you're eating like blocks of butter. So fat is not that's not contributing to cholesterol, and you want a ratio to be 2 to 1 or less. And this information is in the book, the Great Cholesterol Myth. It's behind me somewhere. But so there's that. Now, as far as omega-3 supplements, what's best would be to eat wild caught fish. And get it naturally. And here's why, because a lot of the omega-3 supplements that are out on the market, unless it's third party tested and it's a very well trusted source. And even then it's been sitting on a shelf. You don't know how long. And by the time it comes to you on the truck, there's a really good chance that it's gone rancid. And so if you're taking rancid fish oil, it's the same as taking seed oil.
Right.
And so it's oxidized, and it's going to cause oxidative stress and all sorts of problems in your body. So the best would be get your omega-3 from grass-fed beef, which has high omega-3. Get it from eggs, get it from wild caught salmon, make sure it's wild caught, and know your local farmer and know your local meat source.
I love that. Beautiful answer. Great tips. Coach Raymond, any thoughts on this question?
Yeah, there's the 2014 article that actually says, and I thought that was interesting. It says cholesterol is not considered a nutrient of concern for overconsumption. And the reason that came out, so for those people who are worried about cholesterol, is the reason that came out is because your body will make it if you don't eat it. So it will find a way to make it. That should give us like a ding, ding, ding. Oh, wow, it must be pretty important if your body's going to make it if you don't give it what it needs, right? So I like what you said about that, though. Oh, you're muted.
Truth bombs, lots of truth bombs.
So many truth bombs. I want to ask a follow-up question since you shared that you used to be a pharmaceutical sales rep. My question is, what are some of the most shocking things that you had to unlearn after going on your healing journey?
That's a very, very, very good question. Wow. I need to write a book about that. Other than, that I think like being that I sold a statin, it was just such a shocking thing to me, because I was, you learn this stuff, and then I was also the patient through the conventional system. So I was getting it from that side, but yet I was working in that side as well. So God puts us in these situations so that we learn, so that we can really see and understand. One of the biggest things that was like my takeaway coming from conventional medicine into, functional wellness is that someone outside of your body is not in charge of your health. And so that doctor or the doctors that I saw, and I was explaining my symptoms to them, they didn't feel it. And so always trust your inner voice and your intuition, because your body is speaking to you. It's always trying to communicate and tell you. And so what I do now is I help people take responsibility and accountability of their health. And not only that, but to listen and learn the communication of our body. So when it speaks, what does it mean? What is it trying to say? Because it to many people is a foreign language. And I feel strongly that in conventional medicine, because those doctors are taught in that way, they were never taught this foreign language. Wow. And there are 3 tools in conventional medicine. There's pharmaceuticals, there's surgery, and there's radiation. But I have laid awake at night trying to think, are there any other tools that they're using? And I can't think of any. And yet now I get to teach people how to use hundreds and hundreds of different tools that are out there. Most of them are free, but to be able to apply those. And I think that learning, that shift to me was fascinating, because there was doubt at first. Does this learn? I had many limiting beliefs. Does this really work? Is it really this simple? And yes, it is, when you are in touch with your body, mind, spirit, and you make that shift over and you trust your body and its internal wisdom. Yes, it is that simple. And I haven't been to a regular doctor, like a conventional doctor, since 2016. And so as I have moved away from the system, I have only improved my health.
Amazing message. Thank you, TALI. Henry wants to know, how long does it take to get fat adapted and to beat insulin resistance? What do you think, TALI?
I think it's going to be different for everyone. So, I have seen some people in a matter of weeks, like 3 weeks. And they're like signs. So I had a client, a guy who it was a self-professed sugar addict. And at the beginning, it's like, I can't do this. Oh my God, I need a snack. What about fruit? Blah, blah, blah. It's just going absolutely nuts, texting me. He had just real sugar addiction.
Yeah.
And it took him 3 weeks. 3 weeks later, all the food noise went away. And I think, like, if you want to listen to your body and know, am I fat adapted? Then instead of, you could keto mojo it and see. You could take a test, like a cellular health test, or you could listen to your body and it would be saying to you, oh, the food noise is gone, or I'm just not hungry. I'm not thinking, where's my next food thing coming from? And that's kind of the signs in our body that, yeah, you're likely getting into ketosis and fat adapted.
Beautiful. Yeah, I would agree. So some people take weeks, others take months. I've even heard of cases where it takes years, but it only takes years because they're not eating enough fat. So they're just not quite doing it the ideal way. And so that's why a high fat carnivore diet, not one where you're eating as much fat as I was, which was like sticks of butter a day, but just one that's focused on eating those fatty cuts of meat is very important to really eventually get fat adapted and to become insulin sensitive again. So this is a great question to follow up that. Amanda wants to know, what do you eat in a day now? And do you have any recommendations for women dealing with low progesterone?
So, just to address hormone issues first, hormone issues are cellular issues frequently. And so, when you address the cellular dysfunction, then the body now revs up and is capable of rebalancing. Pretty much, I mean, I can confidently say that nearly everything is a cellular issue. And so, when you swim upstream, instead of, for example, addressing organs, like, oh, we need to address this organ, this kidney, or this lung, or whatever the case might be, that, the endocrine system, swimming upstream into where the cells are and addressing the issues that are there helps the body now have the energy and be able to make the shift and, rebalance hormones. I'm not on any hormone therapy. I'm 55. I have also rebalanced hormones by just getting in touch or aligned with circadian rhythm. So when we align with nature and we do all the things that we have forgotten of having that human being experience, our bodies know what to do to heal themselves. So sunlight is very important. Get those sunglasses off. Don't use sunscreen. Look at your toxic makeup and chemicals, because those are also shifting your hormones. Blue light at night also is affecting that. And if you have high, cortisol, then that's also going to shift your hormones. So everything in the body is connected. As far as what I eat in a day, I definitely don't eat as much as Bella, but I'm 55, Bella's 28, right? So we have probably different nutritional needs, but I love, and I eat more animal-based now. I'm not completely strict carnivore. And in the summer months, I kind of thought of, like, what would a primal me have done? And I might have seen something sprout from the ground and eaten it. And so there are just some very small amount of vegetables that I will incorporate that I know won't bother me. But that's only during the summer. And then I shift right back in the fall and winter into those really hearty, heavy, meat-based. And that's just how I've been doing it as an experiment this summer. So I'm now a 1.5 years carnivore. So this is my second summer being carnivore. The first summer I was just starting it, so I was just meat-based. So this is just something that I'm trying out. I'm not 100% sure I'm going to stick with that, because quite honestly, I have noticed a little bit of gut disruption starting to happen. And so maybe this isn't the right thing for me. But I start with 3 eggs, in the morning. I get raw milk. It is illegal in Colorado, but I went through all the red tape. I filled out all the paperwork, and I was able to get a share of a cow. And so now I legally, I pick up my milk once a week. I buy local from Ranch Foods Direct, so I know my local rancher, and I buy my meat solely from there. I don't buy any meat at the grocery store. These days, I feel better when I eat red meat. So it's steaks or it's ground beef mostly that I'm eating. I do eat a lot of butter. So everything is cooked in butter. And I drink coffee, but it's the mold-free bulletproof coffee. And I stick about a half a stick of butter in there and also raw milk. So I use coffee as my vehicle. It's pretty much just butter with coffee in it. And I eat when the lights are on outside and only then. So once the lights are off outside, there's definitely no eating. My eating window generally is kind of like, that morning time I try to eat at about 4 p.m. for my last meal.
Thank you for that summary. That's very enlightening to just hear how you approach eating as a carnivore and animal-based eater. So I had a follow-up there. When you talked about experimenting with animal-based, what are some of the foods that you're experimenting with? Would love to know.
Yeah. So the raw milk, raw cheese that I like, some of the hard cheeses that are out there. And again, I'm buying them local. So I'm not buying them in the grocery store. So I'm just buying them local, but that's it. So I like to sometimes put cheese in my eggs, and sometimes a little snack is, just the aged Parmesan cheese is like my favorite snack.
Gotcha.
I just love
Any yogurt?
that stuff. Yogurt's so fun. So I've been on and off with yogurt, and I'm probably going to back off on the yogurt because I have looked at these insulin spikes that are happening with the yogurt, even if the blood sugar is not showing that. And so that's kind of concerning, but it's the full fat Greek yogurt. And it's just a small amount. And I did that client that was the sugarholic. He was eating yogurt in the morning, and he did get a Keto Mojo machine and tested his ketones and was really upset because he was consistently for a while there not getting in ketosis, even though he had already gotten in ketosis. So there's something to that.
I actually would still consider how you're eating now fully carnivore. Animal-based meat. Actually, yeah. I think animal-based is more, you incorporate some berries, you do some honey. Yeah, honey's very big in animal-based. But yeah, you're totally still carnivore, Tali.
You are.
In the summer, though, I'll have some avocado. I'll have a little bit of, I'm going to do that as that's what I was trying out. But there were some things I did notice gut inflammation, and I'm like, why is my stomach hurt? And I'm like, oh no. If I go, I'm not going back there.
All right.
So if, that's a choice. That's my choice. My choosing would be, if I start to experience those symptoms, I'm moving right back, shifting back into animal-based without adding all of these other little things on the side, like the blueberries or the cucumber slice or the avocado.
Beautiful. This is actually a perfect next question. So Sean wants us to just define what carnivore means to each of us, because Sean says so many people have different definitions. Okay, so I'll go first. Carnivore to me is just eating all the animal foods. So that's why when Tali said she had, raw milk, yogurt, dairy, cheeses, that's an animal food. So that's carnivore to me. And yeah, and seafood, pork, chicken, all of the types of dairy foods that you can have. And of course, the ruminant meats to me is totally carnivore. What about you, Tali?
I agree. I have heard a definition that it's 80% of what you're eating is carnivore, but it's well, then what is the 20%? Because if you're eating really off on that 20%, let's say you're eating grains or a Snickers candy bar, and you're like, well, I'm still carnivore because I'm eating 80% meat. That's not carnivore. Right now, I would define what I'm doing over the summer as ketovore. So, I think that would be the definition. That's how I explain it, even with my clients. But this was just an experiment to see what I could do or get away with for myself with my history and all the toxins that I've been exposed to and my whole healing journey. And in the fall, winter, the plan is just to switch back into those hearty stews in the crock pot and all of that.
Right.
Love it. Raymond?
Yeah, I mean, for me, carnivore is definitely all animal foods, and even I would include spices. I don't enjoy spices on my steak because that ruins the steak. I don't even enjoy salt on it. But all of this is carnivore, and yogurt and ribeyes are pretty much mine. But the only reason I started doing yogurt is because I started reading Dr. William Davis's, and the L-Reuteri really got me hooked, and it's pretty nice actually. But before that, I was doing cheese, just like you.
Yeah, I love watching Raymond's carnivore diet evolve, because I've followed him and been very close to him for the past, almost 6 years now, I feel like, right? It's been 6 years. In the very beginning, when I first met him, he was the strictest carnivore ever. Like, he was a huge fan of beef only, phases of only ribeye. He was very inspired by the Andersons, if you guys know them, Joe and Charlene. Charlene or Shailene?
Charlene, that's right. Joe and Charlene
Anderson. They're one of the very, very long-time original carnivores who shared their experience on it. And then slowly he opened up to some cheese, and then to some, eating out with family and enjoying it, and then coming back to strict carnivore. And now he's having yogurt every day. So it's really cool to see. And I've kind of naturally myself mimicked that with you, Raymond. I had beef only because of you. I did my rolling 48s because of you. I eat raw cheese, raw kefir, raw cottage cheese every single day now. I can't live without it. And it's great because dairy for me is totally serving me now, but I'm 6 years in, right? I think
it wasn't serving me earlier. That's right.
Yeah. If it was like 2 years in, I think I would have gotten a lot of inflammation because my body wasn't ready to bring those aged foods, dairy foods in just yet. So it's all about where you are in your journey and whatever works for you. So Sean, there's no point in just following somebody's definition of what an ideal diet is. An ideal diet is what works for you, where you are in your journey currently. And it may have
what keeps you carnivore. That's it. That's all that matters. If it's a low avocado, fine. Exactly.
Right. Amanda wants to know, read the menopause symptoms. Did you have hot flashes? Mine seem to be worse with the high fat protein carnivore diet. Thoughts?
Interesting. Well, this is a lot, because when we talk about what hot flashes truly are, we associate it with menopause, but it's not necessarily menopause, because it could be, for example, a toxic liver. If your liver is going through, it's clogged, your detox pathways are clogged, you might experience hot flashes. That would be a symptom of the liver not working properly. It could also be an adrenal issue, because what happens, and Dr. Bright, Elizabeth Bright, speaks about this. I love her. That in menopause, or that time when our estrogen levels, our sex hormones now are not being made at that alarming rate, and large rate. So they shift over to your adrenals taking over the function. But if you have lived a life of chronic dieting, of high stress, and you've lived in the stress response in that sympathetic mode for most of your life, likely your adrenals are burned out. And now you're asking them to take on another job. Now they have to be like your survival, out there in the world, but also you're asking them to make hormones. And so what happens is that when they are overworked, we experience hot flashes. So it could be that this is just part of the healing. I know that when I started eating carnivore and eating high fat, the hot flashes went away. So, my body detoxed, my system calmed down, and I was now in that healing mode, and I didn't experience those every 5-minute hot flashes that I was experiencing when I was in that picture that said the 2 years ago picture, all of that went away. I'm like, wow, did I just reverse menopause? Or, is it something else, as Dr. Elizabeth Bright says?
I love that. And also, I would like to add that sometimes the hot flashes could be confused with meat sweats. That's what I call it with Raymond. Meat sweats. But Raymond, do you care to define what meat sweats are?
Yeah, I mean, meat sweats is a way that your body just gets into a high metabolic rate when you're eating so much meat, and it's wanting to discharge energy. And well, you get the sweats after you're eating quite a bit. And I've had that. There is a level of where you adapt into it where it doesn't bother you as much. But earlier in carnivore, that was a definite for sure for me. Did you feel that, Bella?
Big time. Big time.
Yeah.
When my first year of carnivore, it would be dead winter in New York City, snowing outside. And I would have to pop open the window in the middle of the night because I was having extreme meat sweats. Made sense to me because my body probably didn't know what to do with 5,000 calories worth of meat. Somebody made me calculate how many calories I was eating back then here on these live streams. And it's at least 5,000 calories a day. Sticks of butter, fatty meat, ribeye, ground beef, all of it. Yeah, my body was sweating because it was a bit shocked by suddenly this much fat and protein. And it goes away for sure as your body adapts. Okay.
But the good thing, your metabolic rate goes really high, and that's an advantage.
Yes, over time, your metabolism is on fire and you are able to just have the energy, the happiness, the good sleep, all of it. It doesn't matter what age you are. So this is great for us women, especially because you could be 25 menstruating and you could benefit from it. You could be 50 like TALI and benefit from it. It's amazing.
55.
55.
There you go.
Fabulous.
No
Yeah.
Botox.
Wow. I
Beautiful.
love that. Giselle, what are your thoughts on drinking protein shakes to intake more protein, but not necessarily being hungry? Thoughts, Tali?
Yeah, I think I'm not into these drinking protein shakes. Get the nutrient density in your food. That would be the best way. Sometimes as my creamer, there's a bone broth. The bone broth protein, Ancient Nutrition has like a bone broth protein, but that's a real treat to stick that in there just for some extra flavoring. And it does have 20 grams of protein in it. But if you are eating a nutrient dense diet, then you're getting the amount of protein that you need. Truly in carnivore, or the healing happens with the fat. So, just be fat focused more so than worrying about the intake of protein. Just eat your meat and then get the fat in, and eat when you're hungry and don't eat when you're not hungry. It's just kind of that simple.
Well said. Yep, perfect. And final question that we have time for tonight, Nancy. Day 20 on carnivore, food noise and appetite gone, but I'm feeling weak. Am I not adapted yet? What advice would you give me? I have lost 18 pounds.
Well, if weight loss was what you were looking for, then yeah, congratulations. That's absolutely wonderful. Everything sounds like you're on a great path. The reason you're likely feeling weak, it could be an electrolyte imbalance. So I don't know if you're getting in the Baja Gold salt, which is really important when you are shifting into the carnivore lifestyle. So it could be something as simple as mineralizing and being sure that you are getting that hydration, because when you're eating the salt, it's helping your body to hydrate, and it's necessary on carnivore because you're not eating the carbs. So that's just something to think about.
Great tip. Actually, I want to do Valentina's. She says, I removed my implants of 20 years, 1 year ago, carnivore with bit of fruit on the weekend. My headaches start from sensitivity from a draft and air conditioning. How can I make these headaches go away?
Not really clear what's happening there. I would need more information. I don't guess. I love to test, so I don't guess. congratulations on removing the breast implants. That was a very wise move for your health. And congratulations also for being carnivore, because that is, in my opinion, just a great way to address health issues.
Yeah.
As far as headaches starting from sensitivity from a draft and air conditioning, I'm even wondering what's going on with that air conditioning system. Air conditioners also are a key breeding ground for mold. So I don't know if you are being exposed to toxins or not. The cold sensitivity, it could be even something like if you're breathing in this cold and, there's something going on with sinuses. It's hard to say. There's just, I guess stay out of the draft if you want the headaches to go away. But also easy ways to get rid of a headache, just general headache. Remineralize, so Baja Gold Salt, always like remineralize, hydrate, magnesium. The best for headaches is magnesium oxide. So that's a good one just to keep on hand if you ever have a headache. It's not the most bioavailable form of magnesium. So it's not the form that you want to take every day. That's like your headache magnesium to have on hand.
Good to know. Thank you, Tali. Let me just take this comment off the screen so we can give you a moment to share how can people work with you. So let's say they watch this live stream interview and they're curious to have your guidance. How would they go about that?
So they can reach out to me and book a consultation with me at learnu.live. So learn you, like the letter u.live, because once you learn you and how you work and how to take control and responsibility of your health, you do live better, you feel younger and live better. And that's my focus. So I always start with cellular testing to take the guesswork out of it. And then from there, we're able to create the path toward wellness. I do utilize the carnivore and keto lifestyle as part of that modality, just kind of dependent also on what the labs say as what would be the best case, because it's going to be a personal journey for everybody. But it's diet, lifestyle, and it's mindset, because our cells, our 40 trillion cells in our body, they follow our lead. They follow what is in our head. So when I say to detoxify the body, I'm also talking about removing those limiting beliefs that are blocking people from achieving their best life.
Bravo. Thank you so much, Tali, for your time. If you guys want to work or connect with Tali, open up that description box down below and feel free to check out the links. Thank you all for joining us. We'll see you next time.
Thank you, Bella.